It's now 14 straight games with a point for the Tampa Bay Lightning as the big guns for the Bolts come through against the Sharks. More on today's Locked On Lightning.
You're Locked On Lightning, your daily podcast on the Tampa Bay Lightning, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Lightning your first listen of the day. Every single day, we are your free daily Tampa Bay Lightning podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we want to begin with a shout out to our everydayers, those of you who tune into every single show, every single day. We love you. Appreciate the support you give us week in, week out. I'm Nick Morgan, and I am joined by the Wendy to my Peter Pan, Greg Stephen. Greg, welcome in, buddy.
Good morning. 14 straight with a point. Oh, Lightning on an absolute tear lately, huh?
Yeah, 14 with a point, and impressive because for the last several games, they've done it without a point. Brayden Point.
Very well played.
14 straight games with a point for the Tampa Bay Lightning. The latest coming last night, 4-1 win over the San Jose Sharks. A game in which the score seemed to make it look like it was pretty much of a blowout for the Tampa Bay Lightning. But I will say, Greg, maybe a little bit of a sloppy game here.
Yeah, I could get on board with that. And honestly, the Sharks played really well. I think the first period they looked really sharp, and this game looked like it was going to be a battle until obviously the Bolts made it 3-1, maybe around midway, and pick up 14. Man, I mean, 14 points or 14 straight games with a point, just unbelievable.
Yeah. A good one for the Lightning. We'll recap that, including a big night from some key players, including Brandon Hagel, by far to me the star of the game. More on his performance. We'll also talk about another big performance from the Lightning third line. We'll talk about what they did in this game. Plus, it seems like it's Lightning on a 14-game point streak. They should be running away with the division right now, right? Paul, if you look at the Atlantic Division standings, the Lightning are right in the thick of it, and that is because every team at the top of the Atlantic Division is also on an epic run right now. So we're going to talk about playoff implications down the road and what teams are actually going to claw their way into the top three by the time the year is over. A lot to get to on today's show, but let's start with the game itself and a quick recap for those of you who weren't able to tune into the game last night. Again, 4-1 win for the Tampa Bay Lightning over the San Jose Sharks. It didn't start that way, though, Greg. Tyler Toffoli takes advantage of sort of a weird play right off a face-off to put the Sharks up 1-0.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, it looked like it was going to be a different game initially, but no, turned it around.
Yeah, 30 seconds after that, here comes the new look Lightning first line. Nikita Kucherov, Anthony Cirelli sets up Brandon Hagel for an easy little tip-in. Great feed from Cirelli. Great play from Kuch here. Second period, this is a classic, I would say, Brandon Hagel play. Wrap around behind the net, sort of throws it on net, and Anthony Cirelli right there to complete the tip-in. 2-1 Lightning take the lead here, Greg. This is kind of what you expect to see from Brandon Hagel, sort of that gritty sort of setup.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? It also kind of ties in with what you said the other day, crashing the net. Anthony Cirelli, he's just there for that loose puck under the glove and, stabs it in.
Yeah, it pays off to be sort of in the right place at the right time. End of just 2 minutes later in the second period, Jake Guentzel, here's a topic we talked about yesterday too, Greg, the Dominic James, Jake Guentzel, the new connection between those two. We had Gage Goncalves cause a turnover in the corner thanks to a forecheck. Dominic James, great pass to Guentzel, who finishes to make it 3-1. You got to love another good performance from this line last night, Greg.
Yeah, oh yeah, and Dominic James continues to shine, and even Gage, like we've been talking about, he's been looking a lot sharper lately. And those two plus Gensel, it's a deadly combo, man.
Yeah, quietly, Gage Goncalves is starting to heat up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
More on that coming up just a little bit later. And then third period, empty net, a couple of good saves both ways. Underrated strong game from Vasilevsky, I thought, in this one. He wasn't tested a lot, but did make some good saves down the stretch. Also, Yaroslav Askarov on San Jose made a couple of big saves here in this third period to keep it close. But then Brayden Hagel, a little bit of an on-ice argument with Jake Guentzel to see who wanted to get the net goal. Neither one of them really wanted to. Jake Guentzel passes it back to Hagel at the last minute and said, "No, you're taking the goal." Anyway, Hagel gets the empty netter, his second of the game. Jake Guentzel gets another point there. So it's 4-1 win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Yeah, Greg, like I said, a lot to like about this game. 4-1 win. Looks good on paper. Maybe a little bit, sloppy in this one. We saw the stat, a lot of turnovers for the Lightning. There were stretches in which it seemed like the offense was maybe a little bit anemic, but at the end of the day, we've talked about it. This is the Lightning needing to sort of grind out a win on this one, finding ways to sort of still win despite maybe not having their best all-around effort. This seemed like a case of that.
Yeah, completely agree with you. And that'll kind of come up in my minus. But yeah, definitely a sloppier game than we've seen. But as long as they get the job done, man, it's a point or 2 points even, rather.
Yeah. So let's check it out. Let's check out our plus minus. Greg, let's start with a plus. What's something you loved about this game?
Look, man, I'm riding it. Dominic James, he's my plus. He just looks super sharp again. He looks better every game, and that synergy that he has with Guentzel right now is just something I'm in love with it. And same with Gage. I think Gage also, is a part of that. But yeah, mostly Dominic James, man. I think he just looks so good, and he deserves the plus here.
Yeah, that whole line is cooking right now, and I do love the Dominic James addition to that line. I'm gonna, for my plus, Greg, talk about another line, and that is the third line of Yanni Gourde, Pontus Holmberg, and Zemgus Girgensons, because again, John Cooper tasked them with going after the Sharks' big line, and Macklin Celebrini very quiet in this game. And it was a result of him going against that Lightning third line. John Cooper made sure that line was on Celebrini all night. Not only did they, keep Celebrini off the board, which means, I'm sorry, Greg, Nikita Kucherov has now passed Macklin Celebrini in the NHL points race after this game. But also, not only did they force, Celebrini, they kind of shut him down a little bit, but they also had a couple of really good counters the other way as well. Some good scoring chances the other way. You need a third line like that. A line that can not only go out there and sort of batter down the big guns on the other team, but also flip it and lead to some good chances the other way while they're on the ice.
Yeah, absolutely. And Yanni has looked so good, and we've kind of dived into that a bit as well. He's been a surprise. I think, we knew he was going to be good coming back because he's just a natural bolt, but he's been surprisingly excellent this season, and he showed that in this game by shutting down, my boy, Celebrini.
Yeah. Greg, I'm going to lead off the minuses here, and I'm going to give a minus to assistant coach Dan Heinold. Now, look, was this a bad coach game? No, but Dan Heinold, who hasn't played in an NHL game in more than a decade now, somehow walks away with a penalty in this one. A weird sequence of events. Basically, what happened was a puck was shot out of the zone. I can't remember which Lightning player shot it, but it was shot into the bench. Everybody's kind of ducking and everything. Dan Heinold reaches up and just swats the puck down. NHL, the officials got together, talked about it, and determined that had Dan Heinold not touch that puck, it would have gone over the back glass of the bench, which means it would have been a penalty. So they give Dan Highnote the penalty for, I think it was like bench interference or something like that, or play interference. It was something. It was some kind of interference penalty, but I've never seen that called before, Greg. Like
I haven't either. I haven't either. And you know what? It's such a funny penalty. That's going to be one of those things that shows up on one of those weird NHL videos. I don't know if you ever watched those, but those are great. And I bet you that's going to land in one of those next ones.
Yeah, my favorite, the broadcast, panning over and just the little, Dan Highnote's kind of stone-faced, whatever. John Cooper has a little bit of a smirk on his face as the Lightning go short-handed there.
Yeah,
I think even Coop is like, I don't know, what are we doing here?
Right.
Yeah. Some weird hockey overhaul for the Lightning this season. They've certainly been through it.
That was a silly play, genuinely. When they were talking about that, everyone's cracking up behind the bench too. It's just a funny moment.
Oh, for sure. All right, Greg, what is your minus in this one?
All right, my playful minus is no Celebrini points, man. Come on.
Oh, man. He's losing ground to Cooch in the MVP race now.
He is. I would like to see him notch one at least in this game, but no. My serious minus is going to be giveaways. I think the Lightning at 18 in this game to the Sharks 13, if I'm not mistaken. And just like we kind of talked about earlier, just a little bit sloppy. And you'd like them to be a little more careful with the puck, especially against a team that you should know they're going to beat. And we kind of talked about that yesterday. It's sort of like one of those trap games, but on paper, got to win this game. And turned out that they did. But yeah, giveaways, too much.
Yeah, I'm with you right there. Like we said off the top, would love to see maybe a little bit of a cleaner game. A little bit of a quiet Lightning, only 20 shots on goal in this one. Obviously, they certainly made him count, but it seems like there could have been a little bit more in the tank. But, sloppy. And not just the giveaways, but just long stretches where it just seems like the offense really couldn't get anything going. Sharks are a good team. I will say that, Greg. I'm fully convinced watching this game. I think the Sharks are a team to watch in the NHL this year. Yeah,
and then they acquire Sherwood too, man. I mean, they're going for it.
Yeah, ask me your Celebrini top 5 player in the NHL.
I think so. Yeah.
Ask me that next year, and I'll have a different answer for you. I promise.
Hey, man, what if he ends in the top 5 points this season? I mean, you're gonna have to say it.
Is he better than a couple of players not in the top 5 in points, like Cale Makar?
Great point. Ask me in 5 months.
We'll circle back on this same conversation. Hey, we'll also circle back on this game because a lot more to get to, including a breakdown of Brandon Hagel's big night. Nikita Kucherov, another big night for him as well. Plus, the Atlantic Division, man. Maybe the best division in hockey right now. We'll debate that and more from this game coming up on today's Locked On Lightning. Today's show is brought to you by Indeed. If you've ever hired someone who looked good on paper but wasn't the right fit in person, you know how frustrating that can be. When you want candidates who truly match what you're looking for, trust Indeed sponsored jobs. If you're hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs puts your post at the top of the page and helps you reach the right candidates faster. If I ever needed to hire someone for the show, listen, Greg, get me my coffee on time next time. I'd go straight to Indeed and be very specific about what I need. I need real experience, not just resume buzzwords. And instead of to get my job post seen, I would use Indeed sponsored jobs. It helps my listings stand out and reach quality candidates faster. Plus, sponsored jobs boost your posts to the people who are the best match for your role based on their resume, which makes a real difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed are 90% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. So spend more time interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes with less stress, less time, and more results using Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show get a $75 sponsored job credit to help give your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/lockedon. Again, go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support the show by saying you heard about it on Locked On Lightning. Terms and conditions apply. If you're hiring, Indeed is all you need. We're back on Locked On Lightning. Nick Morgan here alongside Greg Stephen. And Greg, let's talk about the guy who I would say is the MVP of the night for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And that's Brayden Hagel. Really strong performance in this one. I think we got the full Brayden Hagel experience. A couple of hits, couple of blocked shots, 5 shots on goal. And then 2 goals in this one, including a assist on the second Lightning goal that easily could have been his as well. Just the effort he put into that. I would say strong all-around effort from Brayden Hagel in this game. Kind of reminds you of, everything he can kind of bring to the table as a player.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's almost a bit of a disgrace that neither of us picked him as our plus, to be honest with you. I was thinking about that as we said them, but he deserves it. And I don't know if you were watching, I think the Lightning broadcast was talking about how when Hagel scores a goal, the Lightning are 17-1, which is just such a great stat, man. That's such a
I
cool
missed
stat.
that on the broadcast last night. That's wild, though.
Yeah, and just it's an awesome stat, honestly. I mean, when he's on it, man, this team is cooking, and he's an engine just like Kucherov is, just in a different way. And like you said, even that wraparound goal, I think it actually initially was recorded as his goal until they kind of changed it to Cirelli after they noticed that he kind of cleaned up that rebound. But that was all Hagel. I mean, that's a Hagel play, and absolutely monster night from this guy. And we early on in the season, we talked about how much he was struggling, and to see him now, just so remarkable, dude. He's he's a monster.
Certainly not struggling anymore, man.
No, not at all.
Yeah, full Brayden Hagel experience, I think, in this one. A little bit of grit, a little bit of energy, a little bit of getting to the net, but just also good skill all around. Though his finish on that first play was beautiful on that one, and a good setup from his line mates on that one as well. Meanwhile, Greg, let's talk about some other big performances. 3 points in this one from Nikita Kucherov. Maybe a little bit of a quiet 3 points, but some good hockey from him all around, including a good play in the corner to set up Anthony Cirelli, who then set up Brayden Hagel on that first goal. Here we go. Nikita Kucherov now, Greg. He's now top 3 in the NHL in scoring.
He is. How many ahead is he?
Up.
One or 2?
He's 3.
3 ahead?
So he's wait, did you ask how many people are ahead of him?
Yeah, I was asking how.
Oh, you cut off there. I couldn't hear the rest of that. But
how many points ahead of Celebrini?
1, because he entered the game. He entered the game
2 back.
2 down.
Right.
But he's now within 12 of both Nathan McKinnon and Connor McDavid.
The usual suspects, huh?
Yeah. But what did you see from Kucherov in this game? Because I thought maybe a little bit of a, other than maybe that first goal, maybe a little bit of a not noticed 3 points.
Yeah, I think he's one of the only guys in the league that you can say that about, right? Quiet 3 points. But yeah, you're right. I think he actually had a few turnovers that were pretty abysmal. Let's be real. He had one drop pass, I think, midway through the second around there, and just awful. I mean, you got to be more cautious with the puck. And, luckily you're playing the Sharks and you can win this game like that. But, don't do it against the Panthers. Don't do it against the Avalanche. They're going to put it on you. And you just want to see him clean those things up. I thought he's looked a lot better in the last couple of months with that. But this game, just definitely sloppier than normal.
Yeah. If anything, I think maybe having a couple of secondary assists in this one, it's more of a sign of just how much he's elevating other people on the ice as well, I would say.
And like that goal you talked about on the Cirelli pass, just what a great play, man. Just that whole goal was just so nice. It looked beautiful.
Yeah, a great play all around. We had a Jake Guentzel goal and assist night. We had Anthony Cirelli with a goal and an assist. Greg, one person I want to talk about is that revamped second line. We talked about it yesterday. Dominic James, Jake Guentzel, Gage Goncalves. Obviously, we talked about the Guentzel-James connection, and we talked about it a little bit in the first block, but I want to dive in to Gage Goncalves' role a little bit more on that second line, because we mentioned it yesterday. Like, he does some things that I think can maybe mimic Brandon Hagel a little bit. And we talked about this on yesterday's show, kind of in the same vein as Dominic James. Dominic James is not Anthony Cirelli, but he does some things play-wise that he kind of mimics his style of play. I feel the same way about Gage and Brandon Hagel a little bit. Like, look, Gage Goncalves is not on Brandon Hagel's skill level, but I think the way he plays, how aggressive of a forechecker is, the way he's willing to kind of put his body in places to open up space for his teammates, get loose pucks, all that. I think that kind of skill is a big key to this revamped second line.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you know who else both of those guys, James and Gage, have a hint of? I would say Mikey Asimon. They have they had the little fire in their shifts like Asimon did, and they ripped into the corners, man. They're willing to put their bodies on the line and get the pucks from the corner and set up some plays. And we saw that from both of them last night. I thought that whole goal was just like them putting themselves wherever they needed to be to get the job done, and they did that. And I think that's a big reason James has found success, just being fearless.
Yeah, I think that Gage Goncalves forecheck was a big part of that as
Absolutely.
well. Another call out for this one, Greg, for me, and then we'll move on. Darren Radish, maybe a little bit of a sloppy offensive game, had 3 giveaways in this one, but I thought on the defensive side, one of Darren Radish's, really good kind of stay-at-home defensive games, 3 block shots in this one, and him and his partner JJ Moser. I know we called out that third line for sort of winning their matchups against Celebrini. These two also really stepped up to the occasion, and I will say, Greg, it's imagine saying that you would put Darren Radish 24 minutes a night against like a top 4 scorer of the NHL and have total confidence. But more and more every game we get to, these two guys, Darren Radish and JJ Moser, you're getting more and more and more confident that they can shut down big lines for the other team.
Yeah, and not only are we getting more confident, I think they are.
Yeah.
And you can see it in Radish's game, man. Like I was going to actually bring up Radish as well. I thought defensively he looked great. I think recently defensively he's been better than he has been offensively, which is crazy to say because we were debating if he'd even have a role on the team in week 2.
Yeah.
And he cracked a few slappers from the point as well. Yeah.
And that's a player that you absolutely love to have. And it's really cool to see both of them flying. The Lightning walk away with a 4-1 win over the San Jose Sharks. It seems like the Lightning should just be, after 14 games with a point, rolling away with the division at this point. The only problem is there are some teams in the Atlantic Division that have been just as hot as the Tampa Bay Lightning and is creating an absolute logjam in the Atlantic. So are the Lightning good? Are they still the favorites in the Atlantic? And who else are going to chase them into that top 3? More on that when we come back. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. That's right. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts that you can apply to the bets you like the most. All you need to do is open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boost you want to apply. The boosts let you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback play, or coaching. The boost gives you more juice on bets you already like instead of forcing you to bet something new. Every play feels bigger in the postseason, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. You make the picks, then apply your profit boost to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. You can go to FanDuel.com to get started or download the FanDuel app straight to your phone. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. We're back on Locked on Lightning. Nick Morgan here alongside Greg Stephen. And Greg, let's talk about the Atlantic Division, because the Tampa Bay Lightning, thanks to 14 consecutive games with a point in their 13-0-1 stretch, firmly in first place. Hey, 66 points, 31-13-4 record with 48 games played. It seems like they should be the cream of the crop based on this recent run. One problem. There is a team just 2 points behind the Tampa Bay Lightning for first place right now, and that would be the Detroit Red Wings, who have been red hot on their own, 7-2-1 in their last 10, an even better record dating back to the beginning of December. All right, so there's a 2-horse race on top. Nope, because the Montreal Canadiens are just 3 points behind the Tampa Bay Lightning on a 6-3-1 streak themselves. But it doesn't stop there, Greg, because the first wild card is the Buffalo Sabres, 6-3-1 in their last 10. Then you have the Boston Bruins, 8-2 in their last 10. And then even the first team out of the playoffs right now is the Toronto Maple Leafs, 6-2-2 in their last 10. Greg, I just listed off a lot of teams within the division that are absolutely on fire right now. And it doesn't seem fair, because the Lightning going on this big streak, it should give them a little bit of breathing room in the conference and really assert themselves as the top dog. But Greg, every single team in the Atlantic Division this year has proven to be dangerous.
You're absolutely right. And what a race. This is going to go down to the wire, dude. I'm so excited. This is one of the best seasons, I think, as far as standings are concerned. And I think leading into this segment, you said, are the Lightning still the Atlantic Division favorite? Yes, they absolutely are. Absolutely they are. I would even stand on they're the Eastern Conference favorite. I think they end up on first and in both of those. And it's exciting to watch these other Atlantic Division teams go hot. And it is funny to see how a 14-game point streak isn't putting them so far ahead. But no, I think they're still the dominant team in the division, 100%.
Yeah. I'm going to say it kind of reminds us of how important points are going to be. And not just the Brayden kinds, Greg, but I think just, being able to walk out of games with points. And I think yesterday was a good example. This wasn't the Lightning's cleanest game against the San Jose Sharks, but they found a way to win. They found a way to scrap in, 4-1 looks like a big win on paper, but I think if you watch that game, people will kind of attest it was anything but sort of a blowout.
Right.
And I think it's going to be important for the Lightning to keep having runs like this. Maybe it's not 14-game point streaks, but I think it's going to really, be able to go like, five straight games with a win, or, make sure you're always going at least 7-3 in your last 10. Runs like that, I think, are going to be important, because this is, every game sort of matters here.
Yeah, and to add to your point about points, even the Blues game, right? When they lose the actual win streak, you still force overtime. You still pick up that 1 point, and those are going to matter in the stretch. They are. They're going to matter big time, especially, when it comes down to the very end and people are trying to claim a spot in the playoffs. You think some of these teams aren't going to go on a heater in the end? They absolutely are. And you got to make sure you're ahead of them, and you get that done by picking up these overtime points when you lose,
Yeah. So here's the question. The only other division right now that I think can really touch the Atlantic Division is the Central, because
Mhm.
you look in that's the top of that Central Division. They're cooking right now. Obviously Colorado's best team in the NHL right now. You have the Dallas Stars with 65 points, Minnesota with 65 points. But hear me out, Greg. I would say the bottom of that Central Division is a little bit weak. And so to me, I'm saying the Atlantic Division is the best team in hockey right now.
Yeah,
Like
completely agree with you.
I don't think it's close. I think top to bottom, because you look at who the bottom team is in the division. It's the Ottawa Senators, who are still a couple of games above 500. It's still very much in striking distance of a wild card spot, and we know how much good talent there is on that team. That's a team that can get hot at any given time, even with some of their struggles this season. And then obviously the only other team besides them and Toronto who are out of the playoff picture right now, it's the Florida Panthers. And we know Matthew Tkachuk is back. And we know Sasha Barkov's going to come back maybe after the Olympics. Yes. And that's a team that's going to get a lot better, and a team with 2 straight Stanley Cups. So you can't count them out either.
No, I don't think any team in the Atlantic is counted out. I think all of them can make a spot. I think none of them should take this lightly. And if I'm the Sabres, I'm like, we got to keep rolling, because we know all these teams under us, they're coming.
Yeah. Sabres have been one of the hottest teams too. I will say that.
They have. Yeah. They
all right, Greg. Let's make some predictions here. Who's going to be the top 3 from this division?
Ooh, great question. I'm going to go with Bolts, obviously.
Okay.
I think the Canadians will do it. I think they'll get it done. And I think I'm picking the Florida Panthers, man.
No. Oh man.
I'm trying to reverse jinx it, but yeah, I think they're gonna get a third one.
I'm still picking the Lightning first. I still think that's my number 1 team in the division. I don't know, man. I think the Red Wings have made a believer out of me this season. I've been waiting for the wheels to fall off, and now as soon as I say that, the wheels are going to fall off, I'm sure. But they've made believers out of me. And I would say the Canadians are third. That's my top 3. I think the top 3 now is going to be the top 3 at the end of this year. I think Boston is going to get in. I think they're going to be a wild card team. I want so bad the Sabres to get that last wild card spot, man.
I do too.
Yeah, it would, and they would probably play Tampa in the first round if that's the case.
That's a trap in itself.
Yeah, boy, that's going to be some interesting hockey for sure.
Yeah, some superstars too. Tage Thompson, man, he's on a roll.
Yeah, possible former trade deadline target, Tage Thompson. They can't trade him at this point. Obviously, it's going to be interesting to watch down the stretch for sure. And look, every game is going to be important for the Tampa Bay Lightning, but every Central Division game is certainly going to be, or Atlantic Division game, still in Preds mode, is going to be important for the Bolts as well. So yeah, stay with us for the rest of the season as we break it down. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, whether you're watching us on YouTube or tuning in on your favorite podcasting platform. Not only lets you guys know when we have new content for you, but really helps us out with some of our numbers as well. Also, you can keep tabs with us on social media, Locked On Lightning, Instagram, TikTok, pretty much anywhere you scroll. So be sure to follow us there as well. That's going to do it for us on today's Locked On Lightning. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. New episode coming at you tomorrow. We'll see you then.